Good morning, good morning. How's everybody doing? Hey, Julian, how you doing? Hey, Jerry, you had a good day yesterday. It's good. Sandy, ¿qué pasa, hermano? What's up? Okay, here we go again. Oh, man. Yesterday I was so short biased, and I wanted to short this thing in around 60-20, and the overnight just showed me that there was just no short to be had, and I was short biased all day, right? Even as it kept going up, I took a couple of long scalps, but I just because I was so convinced about the look above and fail. I'll talk a little bit about bias this morning, right? I was so convinced about this look above and fail that this was going to happen. But had I taken that short and had I held it and I added to it, it would have been ugly. It would have been really ugly P&L wise. And that is a really, really, I guess, it's one of those things. Not only is it humbling, but it teaches you. And the nice thing is, it taught me without losing, 20 grand, that we can't afford to be early as retail traders. We can't. If I was like running a fund or something like that, you could have held it and shorted it and had 66 as an out, taken that pain and had it pay off. But had that news not happened, we would have done this, right? The market was poised to take out the 66, but it did not happen because, of course, the news, right? So, but I want you to take a look at something and be aware of stuff, okay? We have overnight inventory, which is once again pretty short, probably about 98% short, okay? And we've got a B profile, right? That's a liquidation profile, right? That's everything here is liquidating out and being caught here. So tonight there's a decent amount of short covering because this reference right here, where the single prints were, filled to the tick, and then we've got rotation back up. The other thing, ladies and gentlemen, is that we came right into our cost basis. Okay? Our cost basis is here. We distributed and then we put it on sale and came right back to cost basis. So now I looked in the trading room, in our trading room, and you've got people in there talking about the end of the world. One of my guys who doesn't sleep and I think just drinks way too much coffee, like my phone was going crazy in the middle of the night, buzzing, 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 and even just now. And I looked and he's like talking about all this stuff going on in the Middle East. I have no idea what he's talking about. And he's just jabbering away. And I finally said, just go to sleep, right? What I want you to be careful of, right? And remember this, if you are position short and this thing gets above 59.80, it hasn't yet, use the levels, okay? Don't be stubborn, okay? And think that the world is ending because the chart's telling you it's not. Does that make sense? Because if the world was ending, we'd be at 58.60 right now. There would be no responsive buying where these shorts are trapped at tonight's low of 59.27 half. Okay? The chart is telling you that the market is functioning normally. And what it's doing is that it's allowing all of those people, and there's some coincidences on here, right? Remember there was that short position? Here, let me go put in the overnights, right? Remember there was that short position right here? Look at the top of the value area, right? That is not a coincidence. This is all the people who got caught short in the mommy-daddy battle from last Thursday. Do you guys see that? That's the same among us. That's the shorting. That's the short covering of the people who got short on this move. They finally get to cover. Now, if that cover saw that, oh my God, the market's, it's World War III, we'd have broken 5,900 and we wouldn't be trading at 59.60. Okay? So just trust the chart. Okay? Don't get sucked in to these narratives on Twitter by people who think they're frickin' Walter Cronkite and Edward R. Murrow, right? And okay, who are saying that the world's going to end. Okay? True, that's bad, whatever is happening in the Middle East, but you're not an analyst at the CIA, right? You don't know what's going on, right? This is short covering, and this is allowing people who got jammed yesterday and back here. That's not a coincidence that the top of today's overnight value area is exactly where the short position is. If you guys think that this is a coincidence, where this white line is that I marked 3-4 days ago, I've got some oceanfront property in Saskatchewan to sell you. Okay? Please contact me. It's got beautiful ocean views. Okay? So let's go take a look at the balance levels. It should be nice and tradable tonight, right? We broke loose some liquidation. So my balance level is 52 quarter to 58 half. Double it to 71. We just took some of this cheap inventory, went and sold it up in the 59.68s. It's liquidating back down now. Let's see if we get a nice liquidation back down to 52. So if you're shorting the 58s, and I don't even know where VWAP is. Where's VWAP? Someone get a doomsday clock? Put an ES chart in the War Office. That's a good idea, right? So right now we've got sellers here. Okay? So if you're shorting, that should be your stop, right? This is coming into this balance area. So you're short 57 against that 59, right? As long as the sellers participate under 58 and a half, you're okay. If we start getting over this level, right? Right? Because the point of control, the overnight point of control is here. So if we have any kind of decent selling, we'll come back to the cost basis, right? If we don't come back to the cost basis, then you don't have to put it on sale, right? See, look there, that's what we want. We want that offer moving lower. See how the offer is moving lower? That means sellers are competing. Then that's what you want if you're a short seller, right? So you're shorting those 57s, right? Just drop in. There you go. And I just covered 56. And I actually screwed up because I had my thing set to 6 micros. So was short 6 micros at 57 and 3/4. Okay. Coming back to the point of control here. Okay. So folks, just remember, right? Don't lose your heads. Trade the chart. You know. And I'm going to tell you guys something. If this thing doesn't take out 59.20, thanks VS Squad. If this thing doesn't take out 59.20 down here, going into RTH, well, what would you do? If you had a whole bunch of product between 46 and 64 and people started lining up to buy it, you'd raise price, right? They just did. They just did an hour ago, right? They rose price all the way up to the 70s, right? So now this is looking like a little look below and fail of 58.5, right? Look below, fail, right? So you buy a little bit at 59.60 and you sell into it before the sellers at 63 step in, right? Just trade it back and forth. Use that thing that sits on top of your shoulders, okay? Right? We want you to be intelligent, responsible business people, right? If you want a thrill, go bungee jumping. See how we came in and we just went to the bottom of those 59.27.5 single prints. What a coincidence. Nice work, Jerry. Nice work. Right? Good stuff. See, what happens is at nighttime, right? You ever heard the early bird catches the worm? Well, at nighttime, the nighttime traders get all the cheap product after liquidation. And then they go and sell it up here. Don't be surprised if we fill the gap. It wouldn't be the first time that there's been a war and we fill the gap and everybody gets caught short. If enough people short it here, right? Remember, nothing structurally has changed in the S&P 500, okay? There's nothing that's going to materially affect the earnings of Nvidia, Apple, because of what happened last night, okay? So until Apple says, you know what, we're not making electronics anymore, we're going to be selling candy apples and popcorn. No more electronics. And Nvidia says, you know what, we're not making electronics anymore, we're going to make hamburgers. Right? Until there's a material change in those companies or an economic policy that affects the material earnings of those companies, companies like BlackRock and Fidelity and State Street aren't going to come out of the billion shares that they have. So what you see here are liquidations of people who trade things on credit. So if you're long on credit at 60.20 overnight, guess what? You're margined out. Does that make sense? But if you're a $1 trillion money manager and you own 800 million shares of Apple, it's paid for in cash. So you're not subject to margin calls. Get it? Look at that. Look below and fail of 59.58. Now we're at 62. If you're long 59.58, Sell into these 62s because you're going to have a seller right here. You guys, this should, folks who have been on with me now, you should see this. It's not your first rodeo, okay? 67, 68 is where VWAP is. Does everybody understand what I'm talking about? Don't get sucked into news, right? There's no reason to blow up your accounts because you're listening to some guy who's overstimulated on Twitter. Okay? Be smart. My guy, one of my guys, he's like sending me this stuff. Oh, this guy's max short. He's max short. I'm like, why are you excited because he's max short? It's like, what the hell is wrong with you? Right? It's like maybe you want to switch to decaf. Right? Take it easy. There's nothing to get that excited about. Nice work, Jam. Well done. Nice work. Just don't go losing your head, okay? We really want you to keep your head, make intelligent trading decisions. And actually make a living, right? So there's your VWAP. Expect some front running as we get up to VWAP because that's where we had it before. That's okay, Dave. How you doing today? I often sell too early as well. So I'm just looking at areas where there's going to be sellers. I'm good. I'm good. I don't know. I think it's the same guy who lost 300 grand shorting Tesla when it was plainly obvious like it was not a short. Some people just like the drama, you know. I had this one promoter I used to work with. He had so many drama in his deals. He was a good promoter, but he's like, JJ, we need to do another deal. I'm like, no, only if we have no drama. He goes, but I need the drama. I still remember that. But I need the drama. Okay, if we get past VWAP, look for 71, folks. Yep. It's okay to take profits, right? Once you get more comfortable, you can hold trades longer, right? I'm not saying to bail out of trades. Once you start getting some experience and the feel for the order flow and the feel for the market, then what you do is, right? Say you were long here, right? On the look below and fail, right? And you went in and you bought the 60s against 58 as your stop. You sell a little bit at 64, put some orders here, one below VWAP and one above VWAP. And if these orders don't get executed, then you know that somebody's front running you and you get the hell out, right? I don't watch news either, right? I have a TV, but I don't, because in the UK, you have to actually get a TV license if you have a TV to watch like live TV. And I thought it was a joke. Like, Monty Python, I would like to buy a cat license. I have a fish license for my pet fish, you know? I didn't know that. I thought it was a Monty Python joke. So no, I don't have a TV license. So I just get my news off the internet. But it's funny because there's so many people in my trading room, and as soon as news comes out, there's like I don't need to subscribe to a news service. Everyone's like, "Did you see what happened?" Ah! Like, okay, take it easy. So we have some selling at VWAP. So we sit back and wait for the next trade. Ugh, fun and games. 8 minutes till London opens up. Do you need a TV license in Ireland also? That's hilarious. You probably have to have a license for your pet fish. If you got a goldfish, you probably need a license for it here. Not to be political, but they sure do like taxing people. Holy cow. Okay. Now, I know people like to short. And there was a great short if you were up last night, and there were a couple of nice shorts, this look below and fail. I got lucky on this one, a couple of points, right? But if we start getting up above 57.80, right, and no backfill underneath it, be careful, okay? Just be careful. Yeah, I don't own a car. My girlfriend has a car, but yeah, she's always complaining about taxes and all this stuff. What's up, Bram? Bram and his XPX. Okay. So now, right now, there's no trade, right? We got the barcode pattern going, right? No trade, right? If you're short off the VWAP, you need to look for bids at 65, 64 and three quarters. A lot of people will short VWAP, put their stop above it. There's 64 and three quarters. And you need the market to now offer under 64 to make that short viable so you can cover the threes and the twos. If it starts to lift back up to VWAP, be careful. There's nothing wrong with shorting a backfill. Now you need the market to offer under 64 and three quarters. Like it needs to offer 64, 63 and three quarters to get some selling to push it down into the 62s. Right? So if you're short off of the 67s, 68s, that's what you're looking for. If the market starts offering back up, see how it's offering back up to 66 quarter? that means that those sell orders are done for the moment, right? And you're looking to see where the seller will engage, right? Because they were selling here. See, if those sellers see buyers, they'll lift their offer. And just under VWAP, there should be some resistance. There, see? As soon as that seller under 68 goes away, the market will lift up. And the only reason that they would go away is if they see buyers, right? So if I'm a seller and I'm parked here and I see buyers lining up, I'll move my offer up to take advantage of it. If I see that sellers are running away, I'll chase them back into the parking lot to fill them, right? Yesterday we had somebody on here and they were asking all sorts of crazy questions, right? But all you need to do is watch a 1 minute candle chart and it'll tell you everything you need to know, right? Like right now, right? It doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that there's a seller right there. You've got 3 1 minute candles with the exact same top. That means the sellers are competing at that level. Does that make sense? Can you guys visualize that? Those sellers see buyers. What did I say? They're going to raise price. Right? So remember I said if you're short 67 and you can't offer under 64 and 3/4, cover your short. Right? This is practical information you can use. If you practice this and practice watching this, you'll be able to use it when you're actually in a trade so you're not all upside down. You actually understand what's going on in a market. So you're not trading based on adrenaline, fear, and greed, right? You're trading as a business person, not like somebody who's strung out on 25 Red Bulls, right? Hey, Capron, you have to call me, okay, Sandy? Right? We need to do a one-on-one. It's been a long time. I need to get you back in the fold. Okay? Oh, your only problem is that you don't sleep. So, right? You don't sleep, so you need to get a good night's rest, right? You'll be your trades will be much better if you could actually pull off 8 hours sleep, right? You'd trade so much better. Ugh. That's the problem with the restaurant business, right? You work till like 3 in the morning, and then you're so wired. Oh, I'll just do some trading, right? You can't go to sleep. I know. I've worked in restaurants, right? Then you're up till 6 in the morning. 4 a.m., right? Man, if I was in New York, I'd be at your restaurant every night. You guys got good music. There's 71. See? And they told us here. The chart told us here. They're like, hey, guys, don't short this, right? And if you are short, cover, right? The chart told us. Now we're looking for 75, right here. Now, a lot of people like to buy this breakout. I want to see how much they sell into it. I'd love it if it comes back under 71 and then comes back up to take the trade. If we've got enough people caught short under 68, we're going to do this. Oh, there's the look. See, it's coming back in. Now let's see if we get some bids at 69, 68, and then rotate back up. When a market backfills like this, it's going to tell me where everybody's short because that's where the bid will be. Right? On the backfill, where that bid will be is where the short sellers are. Right? Because that's where they're going to put their buy orders. Now the shorts will tell you if there's size coming in on the bid. Right? The shorts will say, "Hey, look, don't buy it here. They're selling. Try and buy it here." Or try and buy it here. They'll drop their buy orders. And they're like our canary in the coal mine, right? Right? They're our little lookout bid. See? They're trapped under VWAP for now. Right? There are sellers, right? Because anybody who was long here is going to be selling here, right? And that's okay. It's not ready to go yet. But that was a nice little correction to overnight inventory. Let's see where it settles out. See, the shorts are telling us they're selling, they're selling. Don't buy it, right? And if you're short on the look above and fail, right, and it breaks VWAP, look to cover in this like 62-ish area around here. Should see some 62 bids. Nice two-sided trading today, right? Remember yesterday I said if we get some liquidation, we'll get better price action? Well, there you go, right? Much better price action tonight, right? And decent singles above to work out first. Hey, Phil, how you doing? It's okay. Base hits add up, my friend. Base hits add up. Nothing wrong with A few points here and a few points there. Let me just make sure VWAP hasn't moved too much. It's still in the same place. Okay. There we go. All right, a little look below and fail of the middle. There should be a seller at VWAP, right? If we don't take out VWAP, right? I bought a little at 64 64 and 3/4 and 65. And I'm selling those contracts now. And I have a couple left. Remember I was saying I was looking for bids at 62? So when it got back up above 64 and 3/4, that's when I went long. And I got two left and I'm flat. There we go. Beautiful, Gem. Nice work. Right. So that trade was, because I called it out, I said I'm looking for bids at 62. Right. That's where the bids came in. Right. Because it came into this cost basis and then it pushed back. So instead of trying to find this bottom, I waited until here. And I had sell orders out. As we went up, it took me out. That's okay. It's probably what, nighttime for you, Dave? The only reason I took that trade in the middle, I like to trade from the edges in. I don't usually trade the middle. The only reason I did is because the position in the overnight is underneath us, right? Overnight inventory is short, right? The inventory is underneath us. So when we came down here into those 62s, it stopped dead, right? And reversed. There's that 59.79 and a half. I'll mark off. Nice work, Dave. Nice work. We should get some distribution up here. You're right, Phil. Right in this area here. We're going to take this, sell it up here, hopefully above VWAP. Now, if we got enough people short on this move down, like if people followed this short and they didn't cover here, and they added to it, we'll pop it past these stops. Let's see. It's what happened yesterday. That's why yesterday was a real pain in the butt for short sellers. Because every time on every break they shorted it and it got bought up and then just ripped higher. or not ripped, but grinded higher, I should say. It's all about where the inventory is exactly, Jim. Right? Inventory is everything, right? Inventory and then the order flow, which is the customers coming in, right? Do lower prices attract buyers? Do they see you guys on Twitter and in retail? Everybody thinks the world is ending. Big money goes, oh, it's on sale. Does that make sense? That's why everybody's shorting the hell out of it underneath 59.79. Now, I should have marked in these single prints because they're fairly sizable, but you can see that they're there. It slows down a little bit. Yeah, exactly, right? You wait for that big fire sale, you know, because nothing about the US market, right? Remember, we are trading, this is based on, and the other thing you got to remember too is markets can drop 50, 60, 80 points at night because there's not as many participants. And it allows people who were short yesterday to cover, right? The night market is all about, remember I said that 2 days ago. If you're long, sometimes the night market lets you get out of your long position. If you're short, the night market helps you cover your short because there's less people to compete against, especially if you're a size trader. So you're right, Phil. We got a little distribution here. If we can stay above VWAP, right? I'd love to see if we could take out those 75 and a half stops, 75 and three quarter, 75 and quarter half stops. Back to VWAP. We don't have enough people trapped short yet for a higher move just yet. See, when the market, everyone tries to use fancy verbiage and stuff like that, but check this out. It's really simple, right? When the market moves up and then comes back down, I want to see where it stops selling because that's where the bids are. Right? It's very simple. The market is now looking for the bid. Once it finds large buy orders, it will rotate higher away from them to try and get those people to move their buy orders up and pay more. Right? It's just commerce. It's nothing more than that. But most people aren't aware that these movements actually mean something. They have all these silly things like, oh, it's random, right? Yeah, you put $1 billion on the table and see how random things are. You think people who trade billions of dollars randomly put it to work? No, they don't, right? So right now we're bid at VWAP, right? And there's sellers here. Yeah, exactly. Random is the rationalization of the clueless, right? See, there's a seller there. They stopped selling at VWAP because there are bids here. You can think of this as the bid and the ask, right? And that's a rotation between the bid and the ask. Now, if we lose that bid, look for us to come down here in that 65 area. Hey, Doc, how you doing? See, sellers at VWAP now, right? Nice rotations, right? We have a nice rotational market tonight. The order flow's good, decent volume, right? It's nice and smooth. Doc doesn't sleep. How are things over in Saudi, Doc? When stuff like when this news happens, what's the mood there? I'm always just curious. People still calm? Is it like a big deal? Like no one cares there? Oh, okay. Good to know. All right, coming into the 64s. Got it. You know, it's always good to get perspective from somebody who lives close to the region because I mean, I'm clueless. Now, after this distribution that we just had, a little bit of a correction to overnight inventory, don't be surprised if we take out the 64s and the 63s, if we come back into that 58 level, okay? Here's where it gets a little unpredictable, right? Remember that bid that I took that long off of earlier was here, right? Sorry, not there. It was 62. Apologies. Yeah, it was 62. And then I went long here. There was a decent short cover right there. These candles are a little smaller, so it might not be as decent a move back up. And look to see where they sell into it. See, now they're selling at lower prices, right? Because the only people who are buying this move up were FOMO longs and shorts who were covering, right? So now the FOMO longs they're all getting kicked out. The shorts are telling us, hey, there's sellers here. Drop your buy orders. And if there's sellers here, drop your buy orders, right? Because the shorts are always first to the bid. So they are your, what we call lookout bids. They're the ones who tell us, hey, there's sellers. Back away. Or wait a minute, there's no supply, right? It's okay to buy here. Yeah, there'll be some back and forth. Definitely. Just remember, right? If that 59.20 doesn't break, govern yourselves accordingly. So far, some nice back and forth trading. You guys have any questions? So, for those of you who are watching the stream and enjoy it, I'd ask you to please drop by and check out the Trading Syndicate. That's where we teach and trade live all day. I'm there quite a bit, all the time. You get direct access to me and the other pros. We have great people for commodities and crypto and options. We get all your questions answered, and with the special discount in the description, it's only 50 cents a day. It's month to month. Give us a shot for a month. And here's the thing. If you join and you're finding that it's not working for you, message me, reach out to me and say, hey, JJ, you know, I joined, but I'm not getting what I want out of it. And then I'll talk to you. We can do a phone call, see what your needs are, and help you along. Okay? So, and you can cancel anytime. Also, learn how to get fully funded to trade with our friends at Apex. Trade funding, their discount code is in the description. Check it out, folks. And thank you. There's a little wholesale business going on here, back and forth. What's our point of control size? 3,054 contracts. Let's see. Can we move that up? Just curious. One thing I will promise you is we'll teach you how to make money using common sense and simple, plain execution models. There's no double talk, no words that don't make any sense. We won't talk to you about things like liquidity and unfinished business and all that nonsense, right? We'll tell you the business reason to take the trade and why the trade works. Seller just at VWAP still. I think so, Phil. I think, yeah, well, of course we'll get some margin selling. That's why it's not ripping back up right now, right? And we have those single prints above 59.80 all the way up to around 6,015, right? I mean, I don't mean to sound rude, but that news was very good for those people who got short yesterday. Yeah, exactly, Jam. Just wait for your setup, right? Here, let the wholesalers and the people who like getting stopped out, let them work that area out, right? I'm expecting a little lower, but if we can't take out this 59.61 area, govern yourselves accordingly, okay? Oh, cool. I was asleep in the last hour of RTH Doc. Man, you must be drinking some pretty powerful coffee because you're never sleeping. You have to ask. I'm gonna have to ask your wife what she puts in your coffee. That's nice. I like it when you guys make money when I'm asleep. That's a good thing. That's a very good thing. Okay, folks. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Trade safe out there, right? Have a wonderful morning. We will see you at RTH. We do another YouTube session at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Thank you, everyone. Bye for now.